got the perfect title for this kind of thing. In this book, there's 5 parts. 3 of them are kind of in the words of George W. Bush, as I could imagine. I made them up myself, but tried to find the cadence and the vocabulary and the thought process of our 43rd president. And the other ones are what I think of as commentary poems. And for the folks who keep score in the writing biz, they're all sonnets. And this one is close to the title of this tune. If you call this tune Texas, here's a poem called In Texas. He'd have thought with his expanding power, he might have taken a look at Texas. Set down his bike a few minutes, skipped his nap so he could focus home an hour. When all went crazy, the gerrymander out of turn, that legislative train wreck, where senators fled the state for 5 weeks. Surely the president could have ordered Republican leadership to govern by the rules in place, rather than vote in new ones that gave partisan advantage. If not the president, who? From Orange to Amarillo, El Paso, Brownsville, districts changed. Mr. Bush fired up the grill. I'm just going to turn the page and do one. I find I have a lot of poems in here I like, and I might as well like them because I wrote them. Here's one called The Courts. It shouldn't be quaint charade, the notion each Supreme Court justice has earned the seat through expertise, not politics. So it would seem that's rarely how it happens. Instead of process, that's the corruption of justice. George W.'s dad didn't start at tabbing Clarence Thomas, those set new lows. That one's chief qualifications, a black man, a judge, a conservative, so young he might serve 40 years maybe. Nothing about competency, nothing. Unless simply being lawyer or judge gives one credentials to decide the country's latest edict. George W. Bush, King. And I'll go back one and do one more from this commentary section. This is still in the news a year plus later, the Hurricane Katrina. So I have a poem called Post-Katrina. The ruined city didn't just happen by accident. Despite a hurricane that brought monster wind, tide, and heavy rain to the Gulf, storm didn't do New Orleans in. Built on a long, wide, shallow basin below sea level, spot was floodplain between river and lake, precarious chain of weakened links that might likely break. When one levee failed and that water rushed, we saw the obvious soggy madness that had been long imagined. City pushed from foundation, city filled with the mess of a deep toxic stew. Federal aid, while New Orleans drowned, the president prayed. Oh, I got one last one I'll do, since one that took place in Texas, and we're playing, Jerry's playing Texas, I'll play it again. But here's one with a title that's, I like this title. The title's called Vice President Cheney Shoots Fellow Hunter in the Face. Labeled as black comedy, here's the beat pulling the trigger, aiming for quail, firing, and it's his pal falling instead. I'm tiring, finally, of chronicling each misstep of an administration bent on some deep, peculiar need for self-sabotage. Bring it on, the Prez once said. It's one more thing, as is this. Guaranteed it'll all keep happening with our 3 stooges-like crew. At least here it's grand old Republican versus grand old Republican. I imagine the crime scene, the need for secrecy, few witnesses. One point officials even blamed the victim, a man they called a friend.